like that. Come on, Scott. As we get closer to something here. Thank you. The transition is a little rough. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Dee Sportswrap today. You can always tell when it's about football season. The weather starts changing. Turns into the rainy season. And that's pretty much what we got right now, as the season's probably, well, they'll start doing things within the next 2 weeks or so. So it's on. So what I want to do today is I want to kind of take a look at the local teams and look at their schedule and maybe a few other things as well. We're going to start out with Marion, and then we'll go across the river to Florence. But as of now, this is the schedule that Max Prep has posted, and we cannot take Max Prep to the bank, folks. You all already know that. So you probably ask me, why are you using suspect information source? That's all I got right now. But anyway, Marion starts out their season on the 22nd of this month. Let me make sure I got, no, that's wrong. See what y'all did to me? Looking at the wrong year. Everybody say, Michael, that's not the right year. It's not the right year. This is the right year. 26, 27. I'm going to say boom. 26, 27 is good. Okay, you know the Swamp Foxes have a new head coach. And basically a new coaching staff, you know, with the exception of a few holdovers. But they will be getting ready to start, and they start their season against Aner. And that's going to be on the 28th of this month, not the 22nd, as I previously stated. I dragged this old computer out of the corner today, and maybe I should have left it where it was, because it is slow as Christmas. Let's see. Schedule. So I guess you folks heard that the big signing has taken place. LeBron James is now at Philadelphia 76ers. I'm going to touch on that in a little bit. But I ain't mad at him. And I'm not mad at Philadelphia either. I think that, you know, he should do okay. They're not going to really ask a lot of him. He's going to be 42 years old. How much can you ask of a guy who is 42 years old? There goes that. Let's try this over here. Good. Well, as I said, they start out on the 28th against Aner, and that's going to be at Aner. The next game is going to be on the 4th, and that's going to be just like a home game versus Lee Central. And then they travel to Dillon. And that should be an interesting matchup because of the fact that got a couple of Marion players on the team, a couple of real good ones too. I know Durante is over there. And the other big guy that signed with the Gamecocks is also on there. Good morning, everyone out there. How you guys doing today? After Dillon, they are at Johnsonville, and that's going to be on the 18th. On the 25th, they will travel to Socastee, take on Socastee Braves. That's going to be on the 25th. On the 2nd, it's the Mullins game, 2nd of October. And that game is going to be in Marion. Green C. Floyd gets a visit from Marion on the 16th. On the 23rd, Latta comes to town. On the 30th, Lakeview. You know, the crazy thing is, for many years, Lakeview and Latta, mostly Lakeview was single A school, and Latta had gone from 2A to single A and back. Marion and Mullins, for their part, were as high as 3A. And then Mullins went back to 2A, which they were before. And then Marion went to 2A. And now they're both single A. So this is the first campaign of the single A era for the Swamp Foxes and Mullins. But, Marion hasn't fared well over the last several years or so. I mean, them and Mullins had an interesting similarity. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. They both went through two really bad years. And where neither one of them won more than one game in 2 years. I had forgotten about Mullins' futility at that juncture, but I always mentioned Marion's. Well, Mullins was just as bad. In fact, exactly as bad. Looking back to 2025, Marion went 0-10, 0-6 in the region. 2024-25, they went 1-9, 0-6 in the region. 2023, they were 10-2. And I believe that's the year that they went pretty far in the playoffs that year. And they ended up being ranked in their division at 11. So it's been rough for Marion, and hence the new coaching change. Because the Swamp Fox fans weren't all that happy. And there was a lot of angst around here. People weren't showing up to games. And that's normal for when you don't win games. But hopefully they're going to move in a better direction now with their new coaching staff. Now let's read Mullins' schedule first of all. And Mullins starts the season on the 28th as well, as they take on Lee Central. And they have quite a few common opponents here, Marion and Mullins do, including themselves. And then you have Kingstree on the 4th. That's at Kingstree. That's at Lee Central before they get a home game against East Clarendon on the 11th. On the 18th, they're at Carvers Bay. On the 25th, Cross comes to town. And this is good. I like the fact that they're bringing Cross up here. Cross is down there from my neck of the woods. And I know I'll see some folks or kin folks in that game. Of course, Marion's on the 2nd. They are at Latta on the 9th. They host Lakeview on the 16th. And they host Green Sea on the 23rd. Now, I don't know if this is just Max Prep doing what Max Prep does, but if I'm not mistaken, Mullins only has 4 home games. This could be wrong, so there's a disclaimer there. They got East Clarendon. They've got Lakeview, Green Sea, and Cross. So that's 4 home games. Meanwhile, they're going to play 6 on the road. Why such an unbalanced schedule? I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason, or it's incorrect. Let's take a look at what Mullins has done over the last couple of years or so. And as I said, there's a familiar ring to it, just like Marion, almost exactly like Marion. It just happened a little bit sooner for Mullins. Well, they finished last season at 3-6, 2-4 in the region. They were 7-4 in 24-25. And that was a pretty decent campaign from them. They got off to a really good start and they finished decently. In Coach Lowry's first year, that's Mark Lowry, they were 0-10, 0-4 in the region. The year before that, under Coach John Williams, they were 1-9, 0-5 in the region. So as you can see, that 0-10 matches Marion's 0-10, and the 1-9 matches Marion's 1-9. So there's definitely some room for growth there, and hopefully we'll see that kind of growth this year. Ladder Vikings. The Vikings start their season. I think they start their season earlier. Okay, here we go. Vikings. And ladder starts on the 28th as well, as they host Chesterfield. They will also follow that up with a visit from Lake City on the 4th. Aner, they're going to travel there on the 11th. They're going to host Andrews. They're going to travel to Lee Central. They're going to travel to rival Lakeview on the 2nd before traveling to Mullins to take on the Auctioneers. They will then host Marion on the 23rd of October. And they finished the season off on the 30th, the regular season, against Green Sea Floyd. Let's take a look at what Ladder has done over the last so many years. They've not done badly. Ladder has been a solid program. Basketball, football, especially baseball. Girls basketball has been pretty good too. So the Vikings are doing fine. But let's just see what they have done over the last few previous seasons. Okay, in 25, 26, the Vikings went 8-3 last year. That's nothing to sneeze at. 8-3, 3-2 in the region. That's 25, 26. 24, 25, they had a mediocre year at 5-6, but still were 4-2 in the region. It's not too shabby. 23, 24, they had a solid season at 4-1 in the region, 9-2 overall. Finished 10th in the state in their division. 22, 23, Ladder went 6-5, 2-2, and before that they went 1-9. So they've gotten themselves out of a hole, and I'm thinking that they're looking to improve upon that this year. Lakeview Wild Gators. You know, it's kind of odd. Ladder beating Lakeview in the state baseball tournament. That's, I guess, Ladder's baseball is really, really, really here. And I saw where they won some tournaments, youth tournaments. So that program is gonna stay strong. Lakeview kicks off the area over here with an August the 20th game. It's a week before the others take place. I think that's what they call week 0, which I call week 1. It's my little pet peeve. They get the season started with a home game against Johnsonville. They then have another home game against McBee. They then travel to Hemingway, which might as well be a home game because Hemingway they've been woeful. I wonder why that consolidation hasn't taken place over there yet. Hemingway was supposed to be combined with King Street, but that does not happen. And Hemingway's sports program has been languishing in not even mediocrity, It's just been terrible. Basketball too. And you know, these guys were kings of the court at one time. Not anymore. Lakeview will then travel after the Hemingway game. They'll travel to Scotts Branch, and then they will host Colleton County. It's a long way for Colleton County to travel. Boy, that's a long trip. Sacrificial lambs? Who knows? On the 25th, Lakeview is at Fairmont. On the 2nd, they host Latta. On the 9th, they are at Greensea. On the 16th, they are at Mullins. And on the 30th, which is the last regular season game of the year, they will host Marion. So that could be a big tussle in the swamp. Now, our friends over in Dillon, who has, let's look at the schedule first, and then we'll talk about Dillon's success, because Dillon is really always successful. I mean, that's almost a given. When it comes to football, Dillon is usually there. And the thing I like about Dillon is their fans. I like their fans because their fans are not braggarts, at least not the ones I know. Their fans are not over the top. Oh, Dillon. They know how to take a loss. They've taken some over the years. But you don't hear them crying. And they just pick back up, and next year, they're on it again. Dillon starts the season off on the road at Myrtle Beach. They then host Cheraw on the 4th. They then host Marion on the 11th before they travel to Kellytown to play the Hartsville Red Foxes, the running Hartsville Red Foxes. On the 2nd, they are at Lake City. On the 9th, at Walkable. They host Manning on the 16th. Marlboro County, they host them on the 23rd. You know, that's a big rivalry game. I went to the basketball version of the rivalry last year. It was pretty good. Marlboro County and Dillon, there's no love lost there. Great people, though. I mean, I know a lot of people in Marlboro County that work over there, and they love their Bulldogs. On the 30th, they finished the regular season against East Clarendon. Now, looking back over Dillon's history, which has been an illustrious history, let's see, previous seasons. Let's see what old Dillon has done. Okay, so 25-26, Dillon finished 9-4, and that's not great for them. 9-4, 4-1 in the region. And 24-25, they were 10-3. So Dillon has literally lost 7 games in 2 years. And if you look back over previous years, that's almost unheard of. But of course, it's a new regime now, too. And no more Jackie Hayes. 23-24, they went 10-2. And that's the new coach, Kelvin Roller, who's there now. And they finished 5-0 in the region. 22-23, they were 13-1. 5-0 in the region. 21-22, they were 9-1. So Roller's been around for a while. Jackie Hayes last season was 19-20. And Roller has taken over after that. I think he took over in the COVID year. And he's done extremely well. Breakout season was 21-22. They went 9-1. 22-23, they went 13-1. 23-24, they went 10-2. So Kevin Roller has done well. And that's the story with the Dillon program, which They're going to be fine this year. I'm probably going to have one of their assistant coaches on next week. Okay, we go across the river to Wilson. And let's first take a look at what the Tigers have done over the last few years or so. Let's see, before we look at their schedule, because Wilson's always, I mean, they make a lot of coaching changes over there. So, looking back at 25-26, Wilson had a decent season at 7-5. They were 3-3 in the region. 24-25, they did not have a good season. They went 1-9 and 0-6. Let's see. 23-24, they were 3-8, and that was under Rodney Mooney. Mooney coached them the year before as well. They were at 5-6. He coached them the year before as well. They were 1-8, so they haven't done well. Hopefully this year they can get back on, because the Wilson fans, that's a tough crowd over there. They don't put up with mediocrity very long. They'll fire cats in a minute, and I've seen them do it. Either fire them or run them off. I heard stories of the alumni, which are, they're a big thing over there. They supposedly run Wilson. And I was told one time that they wanted to fire someone, and they had to buy the guy out. And someone told me, and I don't know how true it is, they brought a big chunk of money over in cash and gave it to the guy and told him, see it. So, there could be some truth to some of this or all of it. I'm not sure, but I'm just passing on a rumor, basically. Wilson starts the season on the 21st, and they host Hartsville. They also, the next week, they host Hampton County. Then they are at Darlington, rivalry game. Then they are at Irmo. And on the 17th, non-varsity opponent, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a max prep thing or something I never heard before. I sure haven't. On the 18th, they're at Conway. Conway is trying to revive themselves. Conway has slid so far over the years. It's not even funny. But, you really have to look at the reasons why. And a lot of the reasons have to do with big old schools being built right next door to them, taking all the kids, sucking all the air out of the room. Conway has suffered more from Carolina Forest, Waccamaw, and all of those schools, really. St. James is down there as well, down that way. So Conway has not done well. In fact, let's just see how well they've not done. I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. Let's see what Conway has done. Now, they've done well in basketball, which is, the crazy thing, because they're a football school, or we're supposed to be a football school. They were a football school. They were a football power. But that just goes to show you how far they have fallen. And let me see how bad it's been for them. Okay. So Conway went in 25-26, 2-9, 1-4 in the region. 24-25, Conway Tigers went 3-7, 1-4 in the region. 23-24, Conway Tigers, 1 win, 10 losses, 1-3 in the region. 22-23, Conway, 4 wins, 7 losses, 1-3 in the region. So it's been a struggle. 21-22, they That was a COVID year. They finished 4-4. The year before that, they were 1-7. It's the same coach. I think they got a new coach this year, though. 3-8 in 1920, 18-19, 3-7. Went 10-2 in 17-18. So maybe that's what bought them a few more years. I'm gonna have to finish this up next week because obviously I can't get through all these teams. But Clemson and Carolina. Clemson is ranked 26. Gamecocks are ranked 32nd. People aren't that excited about either one of them. Dabo Swinney is still living in the past, talking about all that Clemson did over the years. Sorry, Dabo, you got to do some things now. I mean, yeah, you were a top program. You did win national championships, but that was then. Now, for the Gamecocks part, I think that Beamer has to do some things this year. I think that he could be on the chopping block if they don't do well this year. You know, I heard something the other day where it was talking about the SEC and how they're going to, how many conference games they said? I think they said they have 9 conference games. You got almost 30 teams in the league. So you're not playing half the people. That's the problem that I have with these super conferences. You got 20 teams in the league. You're only playing half of them during the season. What's the point of having a conference? Is that a conference? I don't know. But the Gamecocks are, Squirt is there, and I'm definitely going to go up there to see him this year. I'm glad he came back this way. I thought he should have never left, but they didn't recruit him hard enough. Now he's back. And I think I'm going to take my grandsons up there with me. They had never been to a college football game before. I may regret this in the end, but like the football game I took them to last year, those guys are rough, man. But I think I can handle them. I think I'll take someone along. Maybe I take my wife along. Let her help me out with those cats, man, because it could be rough. So LeBron is in Philadelphia. I was listening to Philadelphia radio. Do you know what they did yesterday? There was a station in Philadelphia that was named whatever. Do you know that they changed the name of that station to LeBron James yesterday? Changed the whole name of the station as soon as he got signed. Now, Philadelphia looks pretty good on paper, but the key to them winning and losing is going to be Joel Embiid. It all revolves around him. If that guy cannot play a decent amount of games this year, it's not going to matter that they brought in LeBron James and Jaylen Brown too. Here's what happens next, though. The rivalry between the Knicks and the 76ers just went all the way up the ladder. That's going to be huge this year. New York's got all those Philadelphia players, all those Villanova players on their team. And what they did to them last year in the playoff was ugly. I can't say there's no love lost between New York and Philadelphia because there is love. But there's also sports beef too. So this thing gets cranked up to the next level. And like I said, LeBron is not going to have, they're not going to really ask a whole lot of him. Because, I mean, what will he be now? Maxey, Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, those are the top 3 players. That makes LeBron James the 4th option. Which makes me think, how long is he going to be happy with being the 4th option? We'll see. The clock's ticking. Anyway, have a safe week. I'll be back next week with more later. Good night.